Hi. So, I'm back here on OBP, and I'm on some invisible material, blah 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 blah. So, what I thought I'd go through today is when it comes to working out a movie sequence, you will notice that it will start slowly eating up the thermo. It'll slowly start eating the thermo up until you have nothing left. Now, the easy part is making the sequence. The hard part is finding room after you've got so much. And I've noticed this a lot. So today I thought I'd go through a few things that could help you with space management in terms of when it comes to creating a film or anything in general. Now, before I say anything else, we are using the regular thermo for this. We are not using the dynamic thermometer for this, and I will explain why right now. The dynamic thermometer allows you to add more in theory. So when you go away from something, it disappears, and then when you come back to it, it re-renders. It's a cool concept on paper, but the problem with that is you're only limited to how much you can put into a thing before it starts to lag like crazy. Now, if you're a detail freak like I am, the dynamic thermometer isn't going to work in your favor for that. Now, if it's a really simplified set and it's like that the entire time, throughout the entire film or throughout the entire duration of your level, dynamic thermometer will work like a charm. But for someone who makes sets really crazy and, you know, takes full advantage of what thermo he's got, or he or she's got, they will usually use just the regular thermo. And so that's what we're going to be doing. Now, how do you manage this thermo after it's almost full? The first thing that you should notice is how many materials you are actually using at once. You should also check to see how many gameplay stuff, creatures, tools, stickers, and decorations. Materials, stickers, and decorations are going to take up the most space. You minimize on the materials, and you will no doubtly save some thermo space. But let's say you don't want to get rid of anything. I have just the solution for that, and that's why I've brought up this little example here. So what I have is just what a basic setup for what I'm about to do looks like. So you have a camera sequence, just, you know, visualize it. You have a camera sequence set up, and you have the skit done, and this is what it looks like. Right? It's not supposed to look like anything, but that's just, you know, that's just the example. One sec. After that plays, it stays there after it's done, right? Well, what if it doesn't have to be there after it's done? Because you think, oh, well, after this is done, I just want it to go away. That is possible. So what we're going to need is, I'm going to start everything on a piece of sticker panel. And we're going to get ourselves a microchip to organize all this. Alright. Then we want to take a selector, and since we've only got two different sequences, or two different skits, we're only going to need 3 inputs. The first input isn't going to do anything. It's the last 2 that are going to be for the 2 sequences. Next, you want to take a tag sensor, and you want to connect it to the cycle input. You want to put the layer range at maximum and the detection range at maximum. And you would want to put a label. So for this particular one, I'm just going to put next scene. And then we're going to want to copy over, no, not that. Copy over a tag and connect it to a NOT gate. So that way you don't have to make a tag over and over again. Blue, next scene, right? So you have this set up. This is the basic setup for what we're about to do. Alright, so let's say this is our first sequence or our first skit. We're going to take a piece of sticker panel, thick sticker panel, not thin, thick, make it invisible, put down a microchip. We're going to take an emitter and 2 NOT gates, one for here and one for here. You're going to connect the other NOT gate to the input on the bottom NOT gate, and then connect the NOT gate input to destroy all, and then the other NOT gate input to on and off. So it should look like this. It should be connected just like this. I'll leave it outward so you can see. This is what it should look like. So when you activate this, it's going to deactivate this and activate the emitter. And then when you deactivate and re-invert the NOT gate, it's going to activate this and cause the set to destroy. So now that that's set up, we're going to take one of the, I didn't mean to do that. We're going to take one of the tags here, and we're going to put it at the end of our sequencer right here. And we're going to do the same thing for the other one. So it should look like this. Now we're ready to emit our sets. Trying to think here. Alright, so you want this to be non-inverted. So it should look like that. In the emitter, you want emit once, lifetime infinite, max emitted at once to 1, no, and then both destroy and appear effects to disappear and appear, because you don't want to do anything too fancy. You don't want your set destroying in the middle of your film, because that doesn't look very good. Alright, and then we're just going to copy over and do the exact same thing with this. So now that's all set up. So now we're going to activate our sequencer. Now I do it through a NOT gate. You may just decide to activate it this way, but I like to use NOT gate. So make sure that your sequencer is activated, and then when it's activated, you go into your emitter here, and you're gonna put your thing into the emitter, put your little skit here, little example skit here. So that's one, and now we're going to do the same thing with the other. Once that's been emitted, you want to destroy all of this. And make sure you grab all of it when you do, because otherwise it's going to mess up the sequence. So make sure you grab all of it before you do anything. We're going to do the same thing with this one. I'm going to make the sequence activated. Now you could decide to do it this way, or you could decide to do it with a toggler or selector. Just make sure that the sequencer activates as it's being emitted. And then emit this one. Do the same thing. And then destroy this. So it should look like this. Now right now, nothing is activated. So we're going to take our second port and we're going to connect it to this one. And then we're going to take our last port and connect it to the other one. Now when you do this, and you select your current state selector status to 2, it's going to spawn the set. And then when it's done, it's going to select the other port and it's going to destroy the other one in its place. And then when that's done, it just does that. Starts over. So this is the basic setup of how to work with some dynamic thermometer without having to use dynamic thermometer. Now we're going to take this exact same logic that we just built, and we're going to apply it with these. So these are obviously much bigger sets, much more detailed sets, but I just kind of want to show you that it can work regardless of what kind of sequencer you have. So this is just a, a simple pan. It's going to pan from the left to the right, nothing too fancy. It's going to fade in, and then it's going to fade out, and then it's going to go to the next skit. So I'm going to do literally exactly what I just did. Invert, go in here. I'm going to emit this. And when that's in there, make sure that you destroy this. Make sure you get all of it. And then do the same thing with the other one. Give me a second. I just made a mistake. I forgot to put a tag at the end here. At the end of the cameras here, to indicate that it's going to go to the next scene. You want to do it on both of them. Alright, now I can do this. Get rid of this. Activate this. And then destroy. And then you don't have to do it like this, but I'm going to choose to do it like this. Let's see. I'll play this. And I got people knocking on my door. That's always awkward. Okay. I think I have it set up, so double check our logic here. Alright. So select it to 2, and it should work as it's intended. Now, I want you to notice that when none of these are emitted, there is little to no thermo whatsoever. But when both of them are emitted, and this is going to be horrible, it takes up all that thermo. So doing this allows you to save space, and it's actually not that hard to organize either. When you do that, you have to let the cameras go back to normal. Now normally you would have the music on the sequencer, but this goes under the assumption that you know how to work music sequencers pretty well. But yeah, so that's, you know, just a little example. And it doesn't have to be just 2 of these. It can be 5, it can be 10, it can be 15. Let's see. I have a film that I'm working on, and there's about 12 of these inputs scattered throughout the entire level. And about each and every skit takes up the entire thermo, but it still fits into one level. So that's how you can fit more into a level and not have to worry about space. I think the only thing you would have to be concerned about is it depends on the platform that you're on, as well as how much you're actually trying to emit at once. If you're trying to emit an entire thermo in one level, and you're doing that for every single skit, that's going to lead to some problems, and some things may not even correctly emit as well. So you just got to make sure that you give your level enough breathing room so that way it registers that things have been destroyed, and then you can start emitting stuff. What else? If you're on PS3, your restrictions are even bigger, because PS3, unfortunately, cannot take as much as PS4 can in terms of complexity. And that's just because PS4 is much more powerful. So, that's a thing. That doesn't mean that you can't do the same thing on PS3. You're more limited to what you can do and what you can get away with. That being said, if you decide to make something like this on PS4, it'll probably run okay on PS4, but trying to run it on PS3 will probably be a nightmare. So, that's a thing. That's roughly everything as far as the space saver thing goes. That's just one way of doing it. You might decide to do it a little bit differently, but that's one way to do it. So, I hope this helped in some way. I'll see you guys later, I guess. Bye.